What is going on, guys and gals? It's me, your old buddy, Mistermoose, back in Alaska, doing a little mining in Gold Rush the game. And this is going to be episode 2 of our playthrough. Basically, we are picking up right where we left off. If you didn't join us for episode 1, we basically did a little manual digging, used a sluice box and a pan to get a little bit of gold. I got just over half an ounce, 6/10 of an ounce basically. Made a gold bar, sold that off, got a little bit of money, and we're going to upgrade our operations a little bit with the money that we have. We've only got $797, but that'll be plenty for what we want to do. Basically, we were using a sluice box and having to dump water in it all the time. We're going to upgrade to a pumped version where we hook a water pump into it and have a constant water supply. That'll make things much more efficient because we won't have to stop every 10 shovel loads of dirt to pour water down the throat of this beast. So that'll be good news and make things move along a little bit faster. So we're going to need a water pump. We are going to need an inlet hose, which is going to be that fat hose. And then we're going to need a supply hose to the sluice box, which is going to be this garden hose. And then on the inlet hose, we need to hook a water filter on up to protect our pump so we don't get any muck or gunk up in there. So we'll go ahead and get one of those, which those are free. So that's a good thing. And then we have to be able to fuel the water pump. So we need to come over here and get a Jerrican, which we'll take to the gas station, and we'll go ahead and get that done in a minute. Let's see, and that would be good, but we can also extend out our sluice box a little bit, add a couple more mats, because we might not be collecting every bit of gold that's running through there, so a couple more mats would help us out, so we're going to go ahead and get those. Let's go ahead and check out, because I think that is just about everything we do. 43 of 44 slots. We wouldn't be able to render anything else in, so let's go ahead and buy that. That leaves us with $197. Maybe buy one more bucket while we're here. Ooh, it's such a nasty day. And let's get our tailgate open here. Let's see, what do we want to put in first? Let's put in... let's put this guy in. Jump up in here, grab it. Be careful where you render this. Now, I like to, max out my space in my truck and put everything in here as tight as I can. Be careful where you put things in towards the cab of this truck. You can put a generator or a water pump up here and get it too close to the cab and glitch the truck out, and the truck will vanish and it resets itself somewhere else on the map. And, that can be quite frustrating for you, so just be aware of that. Hey, that didn't work. I find that if you come over here, grab it, run towards the truck, and at the last second hit E, sometimes it'll sling it all the way up in there for you. And then sometimes it won't. Where's the long piece at? There it is. Let's grab that. Jump up in the truck. Get ourselves over here somewhere. Drop that piece. All right. So now we put our hoses in. Somewhere in there. There we go. We got the mats we got to put in. I want the Jerrican to be last because we're going to go by the gas station and fuel that up. There we go. We need the water filter. Don't want to forget that. So we're going to throw that up in there. Go back here. Nope, didn't want to do it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get another one of these real quick. These come in really handy. You'll end up buying a ton of these as you play the game. And the bucket, let's go ahead and buy that. I'll tell you another item that you wouldn't think is really handy, but this trailer right here, the further you get into the game, will become one of your best friends, because it's really nice to be able to walk all the way around this and set buckets in here. When you're mining, you're filling up buckets constantly with, let's say you've got 10 buckets and you're filling those up with a whole lot of materials to take back to your water table to sort out. It's nice to be able to just walk around and put them on the trailer versus trying to get them up in the truck. So at some point you may think, well, I really don't need that trailer because I got a truck. It will make your life much more enjoyable if you go ahead and get yourself one later on as you move around in your operations. All right, so that is everything that we need. Let's get out of here and head ourselves over to the fuel pump, or the fuel station, gas station. We'll get a little bit of fuel and then we'll head over to the campsite and make it daylight and get to doing some more mining, making some more gold. Today's gonna be a good day for us. All right. So you hear that little audio stutter that just popped in there? This has been driving me nuts in the game. If you caught my live stream when this first released last Friday, you know it was driving me nuts. So done some digging around, sent some trouble tickets in, and the general consensus is it's a problem with the AMD chipset. And go figure, something else is a problem with the AMD chipset that I have. Let's turn our lights on here. All right, so to fill up your Jerrican, if you come here to the gas station, this pump doesn't have a handle on it. This one does. You come here, grab it, go over there, and then just go hit here, and then wind that all the way up to 20 gallons. Hit refill. It instantly does it for you. You can replace the handle on there, and that's the same way you refill the trailer or anything else like that that has to get fuel in it. You can refill it that way. Pretty simple. And now we got fuel. Though that is sort of ridiculous. We commented on that in the live stream at 20 gallons for a Jerrican. That's an enormous Jerrican. You'd have to be He-Man to lug that thing around. Good luck pouring that into something without spilling. I think you'd have to have a hand pump on that. We can go this way. Shortcut. Hope this rain stops. This is crazy. So yeah, there's that audio stutter again. And when I get here to the train tracks, it's going to start and be pretty constant. Hear that little pulsing of the audio? That has something to do with my chipset. So if you've got an AMD and you're having that same issue, the devs are supposedly working on it and are going to try to correct it. It will run all the way up until I get up here to the plant, and at the plant here it will just suddenly go away. And presto, it goes away. Bizarre, right? Now the other time I get it is at night. When I'm running excavators and it goes from the day cycle to the night cycle, I will get it then a lot in the excavator. Not so much with other stuff, but with the excavator, I will get it a lot. I put a lot of time in on this game over the weekend, trying to find issues, trying to find bugs, trying to regain my game saves. Ah, man. I've had so many little issues with my first game save. It finally went corrupt and I had to just start all over again. I've got like 4 game saves right now. I've got this one, which is my playthrough that I'm trying to keep just for the videos. Then I've got the one that I started the stream on, which is no good anymore. Then I did a playthrough where I could get back to where I was with the stream. And then I've got one where I've just been cheating and testing things out, testing different equipment, trying to figure out where some little glitches are in the game, things like that. So, anyways, one thing I could tell you guys, if you don't like fast tracking time all the time, you can leave your headlights on your truck on indefinitely. They don't seem to die. It does get annoying having to run over here to this, you know, trailer all the time. All right, so let's get our truck unloaded and we will get our operation set up. Sluice box 2.0. We really don't need that until we do our clean out. Oops, that was probably that could have been an issue. All right, so let's put our extension pan there. You got to be careful with doing stuff like that in this game. It will throw things in crazy places, and they may disappear on you. I've had that happen. I took something out of the truck one day, sort of like that, and kicked some things around, and the next thing I know, one of the hoses that I had purchased was completely gone. It wasn't there anymore. You know, and I'm going to point things out like that because you need to know, because you may run into it and you may think, well, what in the world just happened? And I'm not going to pretend this game's perfect. I'm not going to lie and say, oh man, this game's awesome, it doesn't have any issues. Oh, it's got issues. But at the same time, I don't want people to think, oh, I'm not going to touch this game, it's not any fun, it's got a ton of bugs in it. It doesn't have a ton of bugs in it, and it doesn't have anything that's just really terrible, but it does have some issues, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it doesn't. All right. You know, the physics in it present some issues at times. All right, let's drop that there. You can put this wherever. The equipment that you put down, you can put it, with the exception of the sluice box, you can put most of this stuff anywhere you want. Now, the sluice box has got a predetermined slot, and the wash plant, when you get the big wash plant, all of this up here is prefabbed for the wash plant to go in. So those things have to go into a certain spot. The rest of the stuff is pretty much, you can do whatever you want with, which is one of the things I like about this a lot. All right, we're going to grab our filter. We're going to attach it to this red hose right here just by putting it right there. Then we'll grab the red hose, go over here to our water pump, and we'll come to the inlet side of it, hook that on there, and now the hose goes away. We can drag this, and you can only drag it so far. The hose has only got so much length, but you should be able to get it down here. And later on, when we start hooking up the tier 2 equipment, I'll show you a trick that you can use to get a little extra length out of the hose when it tells you it can't go any further. All right, and then we need this hose here. Well, we'll do that in a second. Let's grab this piece here and take it over to this side. Grab this piece off. Throw it down. Grab that piece and replace it. There you go. And we'll run over here with this one. We're just going to drop it on the ground right there. Unfortunately, right now you can't sell off equipment that you have excess. Like, I don't need that anymore, sell it off. You can't do that. However, there are some pieces of equipment you do want to hang on to and not necessarily sell off, because you do have the ability to hire workers in the game. And so if there's a piece of equipment that you're not using anymore, you can put it on a claim and have your worker utilize it for you. However, the one little caveat to that is, from what I've read, and I haven't messed with workers yet, but the one little caveat that I've read is the worker has to be on a different site than you. You can't be on the same claim and have the worker working for you on the claim, which is kind of, I don't really like it. If I've got a sluice box over here, I don't understand why I can't have a worker working that sluice box on the same claim that I'm working. It just seems silly to me. All right, so let's see. We got both of our mats in place. We got our extension on. We got the sluice box on. If we pull the handle right here, this starts up. We got water coming out over here. We're back in business. And now we don't have to use that annoying bucket to transfer things out of here. So we just grab our shovel now and we start shoveling dirt into here. So I mentioned earlier that I had some little issues with my initial game save, that it's gone corrupt on me. One of the issues I had with it, and for those who watch the live stream, know that I couldn't move my water pump after I did this section here. So I upgraded. I put in my sluice box. I put in the hog pan with a pump on it, and we ran out and got a bunch of gold. And I was ready to go to tier 2 and upgrade onto tier 2. And I wanted to move my water pump. I never could move the water pump. Well, it turns out that I ran my gold and everything, and I went and bought more equipment. And when I came back and got ready to move the water pump, this green garden hose had vanished. Not sure where it went. It just disappeared. Wasn't there anymore. And I thought, well, maybe it just glitched out and is gone. Fine, you know, maybe something I did when I bought equipment caused it to glitch out and it disappeared. I went to move the water pump and the water pump would move. Couldn't get it to move. I came over here and couldn't take the top off of this. I couldn't do anything associated with this piece of equipment or the water pump that was tied to it. So I couldn't really figure out what it is, and through messing around with it, I have determined that the water hose was still there. It just wasn't being visually rendered in. And I couldn't interact with it either. I couldn't take the garden hose off of it anymore. I couldn't disconnect it. And because I couldn't disconnect it from the sluice box or from the water pump, I wasn't able to move the water pump, because you have to be able to disconnect both hoses off the water pump in order to be able to do that. So basically I had a water pump that I couldn't use anymore because it was over here. I had set it up right over here next to the fence, and I had the input line just right there, and then I had the garden hose going right over to it. Very close, very simple, not a big deal. And but yeah, it glitched out and I wasn't able to use that water pump anymore. That was the second issue I had with it. The first issue I had, my mining pan glitched into the side of the tent, and I couldn't retrieve it. Had to go buy another mining pan. When I got back with the new mining pan, the old mining pan had vanished from the, I should have known then that I needed to start over again with a fresh game save, but I didn't. I moved on into tier 2, got all the tier 2 equipment set up, was moving along pretty good, and everything went well until I bought the water table. I bought the water table and started using it. And when I started running the water table, I noticed that as I put dirt into it, I would get really huge frame rate drops. I mean, the game would start stuttering, and especially if you put 2 buckets of dirt in at the same time. If you did 1 bucket of dirt in, the initial bucket was fine. When you added a second bucket of dirt in to it, if it hadn't processed the entire first bucket, it gave huge frame rate issues, and they lasted for a very long time. And that was a bit frustrating. But it would go away eventually. And then I had the whole sound glitch and everything else like that going on, so it was getting old. But then finally, towards the end of the live stream, after I'd gone 8.5 hours with it, the frame rate issue started and didn't stop. And I thought, well, okay, I can rectify this, no problem. There might be a memory leak or something like that. I should be able to close out the game, restart the game, maybe even restart my computer, and all that'll go away, and I'll just be able to pick up, fresh from there and the next time. It didn't go away. I can't get it to go away. It's stuck there. I don't know what it is that's causing the issue. The frame rate drop is pretty much permanent on that game save, so it's a waste. Because it is, with all the frame rates on it that I'm having, and the stuttering and everything, it's unplayable. It becomes a slideshow. It's fine until you go to scoop up some dirt. You scoop up the dirt, and it's like a slideshow. Then it goes back to normal, and then you got to pour the dirt out of a bucket, and it goes back to a slideshow. Something bizarre going on there. So I had to get rid of that, and I had to just, start all over again. So basically what I did was I recorded yesterday or Sunday's video. I recorded Saturday morning watching some college football at the same time. And then during the Alabama game, I just basically did a playthrough to get myself back to where I was in the live stream. And so I've got that playthrough so we can use that in the streams. And I've corrected that issue. But yeah, there's some problems in the game. I've had some issues. So I'm going to be a little bit gun shy with this sluice box. When we finish running this, I'm going to disconnect the water hose on both ends, just so I know that I can use my water pump, because eventually I'm going to remove that, or I'm going to relocate that water pump when we get ready to do the tier 2 run. One of the things that's kind of crazy about the game that I'm not a big fan of is the way they've done the water pumps. Instead of doing upgradable water pumps where you have this water pump, this portable water pump, to begin with for running this rig, and then having like a bigger, industrial size water pump later on to run your wash plants and stuff in the future, where you could like take a 4-inch pipe, come out of the water with it into the pump, and then have another 4-inch pipe run out the other side of it to a distribution manifold and then go off there. Instead of doing that, they just give you one water pump for the whole game. And it's kind of silly. And their solution for you to run great distances of water isn't to be able to chain hoses together off of the pump and go 100 yards with it. Instead, you can go about 50 feet with a garden hose, and that's it. And then you have to lay another pump down versus just chaining a few hoses together. And they say, well, our pumps aren't that powerful in the game. They're not meant to go that long of a distance. I would buy that if you were doing a vertical. If you're trying to pump water up a hill, that would make sense. Up a steep elevation, but you're you're pumping over what is virtually flat land here. You should be able to cover quite a distance horizontally without too much of a rise. Gravity's a beast, but not really when you're going flat. I don't know. To me, they should have they give you a, when you go from tier 1 to tier 2, you have to buy a generator, which is sort of like a home generator type thing, a portable generator. And you use it for tier 2. When you go to tier 3 and you need bigger equipment, you upgrade to an industrial generator. And it just seems like they missed it by not adding that industrial water pump. So anyways, when we get ready to move to tier 2, I'm going to have to move that water pump so I can span a greater distance and maximize out my pumps. Otherwise, I got to buy 3 or 4 pumps. And when you don't have a whole lot of money, you can't really afford to do that. So where you mine, the great thing about this game is you can mine wherever you want to on your claim. Your only limitation, though, is how close the water is to it. And if you don't have enough money to get 3 or 4 pumps, you have to mine in places where you might not want to. All right. So we're moving along. As you can see, it's much more efficient to do it this way. Not having to stop, use the bucket. But it still takes quite a bit of time. And rather than make you sit through me shuffling all this in, because we're 20 minutes into the video already, I am going to continue at this at my pace. Do a little editing here. And through the magic of snip snip, we will be at 100% when we come back. So I'll see you just shortly. Alright guys, we are back. We're at 100% on all 4 of our mats. So we're going to go ahead and shut the generator off here. Shut the water pump off there. Grab ourselves a bucket. We're going to fill it up with a little bit of water. And we're going to come over here and wash our mats out so that we can go and pan them and see what kind of gold we got. We'll go ahead and throw that one back in there. And we'll rinse that one out. And that should give us a full bucket. So we'll go ahead and take that inside. And we'll start panning with our first 2. Oak. And we'll just put this one over here on the shelf. There we go. And we should get, like I said, 4 buckets or 4 pans out of that bucket. You can already see the little pellets in there, so we get some decent little gold in there. Let's just kind of agitate that around, pan our gold real quick. And like I said in our previous video, I've panned a ton of this gold, and it just doesn't seem like washing it multiple times does anything for you. It would have been cool if it did, It would be great if you could dissolve all the solids in here and be left with nothing but the gold. But I guess, when you pan gold, you don't necessarily get every bit of dirt out of there. You get enough to see the gold. But it would be cool, like, if there was some sort of mechanic in there that, okay, every time it shows up with about 7 or 8 little pellets in there, but the more that you agitate the water, like, there should be a reward for washing it all the way to clean water. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I washed it right now and I dumped it and I took it out, I might only find that my little 7 nuggets came out to be, you know, 1/10 of an ounce. Whereas if I agitated the water and dumped it all the way to clean water, I find I get, you know, 15/10 of an ounce or something. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more. That there ought to be that little bit of a reward for taking the time to do it all the way to clean. That way, those who want to, you know, just do it as quick as possible can get a little bit of money. Those who want to take the time to go all the way to clean water can do so and get a better reward. All right, so there is a little over 1/10 of an ounce. Not too bad. All right, so we'll dump all those pellets out. And we'll come back over here to the table and get our second bucket, or our second pan. So this all takes a bit of time to do. And if all you did was pan like this and hand dig, it would get quite monotonous. And you would lose interest in the game. I said that in the live stream, that if with today's generation of people who play the games and their want for instant gratification on everything, if you had to play the game like this for a long period of time, it would turn a lot of people off on the game. So one of the things that the developers have added in is a large nugget fine that probably on this clean out we're going to hit. I've done this about 4 times, and every time on this clean out with this bucket, I get a nugget event to where I get a huge nugget that gives me about 30 ounces of gold. And that will give you enough money so that you can move into the next tier of equipment. So at some point we will probably get that. And it's nice that they put that in there so that you're not panning for gold forever, or that you're not digging, shoveling gold, dirt forever. It would be nice if it was a little more random though, because like I said, I've found it. I've done it 4 times now, or this will be my 4th time to do this. And I've found it each time in this bucket of dirt. And it's almost like it's set up. So maybe like after you pan so many pans, it appears. All right, that is clear. So let's get rid of all that. And I think that's probably what it's triggered off of, is how many pans of gold you do. It could be off of how many total ounces you get. It could be once you reach a minimum amount of gold panned that it actually does it for you. So maybe like once you reach 1.5 ounces, it triggers the event that gives you a 38 ounce nugget or whatever. I'm not really sure how it's exactly worked, but it will give us that sort of little nugget, which again, it's nice. It means you don't have to, like I say, you don't have to go take out a loan. I've seen people play the game differently. I've seen people go to they do this for a little bit, and they, on the first clean out, they just say, you know, forget this, and they go to the bank and they take out a $5,000 loan, and then they start, you know, going down that road. And when you know, which is, you really don't have to. Or they just immediately cheat and use the cheat codes that are in the game and go down that road. All right, so let's get all these cleaned out. Sometimes it's hard to get on these little boogers. And there it is. I ain't seen anything like that. That's the biggest gold nugget I've seen in 40 years of my mining experience. Except I saw it yesterday and the day before that. The day before that. But anyways. All right, so now you see we're up to 39 ounces of gold, 39.42, which is going to give us a substantial bump in money when we go clean that out. Of course, we lose 10% of whatever we earn to the claim, but that's going to be good for us. So we can take that money and we can upgrade our equipment to tier 2, which means our days of hand digging are over. If I can get that last little nugget out of there. So annoying trying to get these sometimes. There we go. All right, so as I said, that is done. We're going to finish this clean out, and then we will we'll be able to go get some good equipment. All right. Shake, shake, shake. Shake it all the time. All right, so let's get that washed up. I've not really found a trick to getting all this gold to settle to where you get a good eye on it. It's kind of tough. Let's see if I can rinse it one more time here. Sometimes there's if you can get it all pulled up into one spot and then you just barely tap it, and but you got to get it over here to the sides, not way over across from you. Let's see if I can shake it and get it down here to the bottom. Come on. Everybody come down low. And to the side over here. Yeah, it's not one to behave. All right, dump out that water. Nope, it's not one to separate for me. It'd be cool if the ridges on this thing worked too, where you could get the gold up on the ridges and get it to hang on there. It doesn't really hang. I got one to hang up there. If you've ever seen a gold pan, you've got those little ridges on there that will actually help you a little bit. All right, so can't see any of these. This part of the panning sucks. These clods of dirt are too big in relation to the piece of gold that you get, and it makes sucking out the gold out of here just a complete pain in the butt. You get this one piece that always finds a way to maneuver itself strategically behind one of these. It'd be cool if you get this piece of tweezers and move that around a little bit. Then it wouldn't be such pain. There we go. All right. Get that little bit of dirt out of there. Let's see. I think that was 3 or 4 pans. Yeah. All right. That's empty. All right, we still got 2 more mats to go. Oh, it's dark outside. Don't get scared. Oh, we need a little bit more water here. Drop that, and we'll grab these mats out of here. So we're at 39.6. Come here. There we go. All right, make sure all those are good and cleaned up. And let's remember to get our garden hose off of here. Now, if you want to roll your garden hose up, hold your right mouse button down, and it will start doing this little dance back in, and you can run it way all the way up here to the other end. And that will wind the hose all the way back up. Just keep holding it until it does that, and it is disconnected. And like I said, I'm just a little gun shy on that. You don't have to do that, but I'm a little gun shy on it because it has glitched out on me before. So I just want to make sure that I get it taken care of. All right, so let's dump that in here. Drop that down in there, and then we'll rinse out our gold. So we'll have to clean gold probably a couple more times by hand, which gets old. It really does. And like I say, it's not the rinsing and washing part of it. Like, this part of it isn't the part that gets old. It's the chasing the nuggets part of it. The fact that you can't dissolve all the dirt down to about the size of the nuggets, so that, or the flakes, which it should be flakes, right? You should have just a little bit of dirt and a little bit of flakes in there instead of, you know, what looks like deer turds or rabbit pellets. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like, you know, dog food or rabbit pellets or deer turds. It sure doesn't look like dirt. Exploded clay pellets like you would use in in aquaculture or hydroponics. Oh, come on, you little waddling thing. See, this is just what drives me nuts. All right, I think I got that one. Couple more cleanups and then we will be done. Maybe we'll get about 40 ounces gold. That would be nice. This clean out usually is pretty consistent too, I will say that. If you run your mats to 100% on this clean out, you're usually going to end up with right around 40 or 41 ounces of gold. I want to say I got 41 ounces off of one cleanup, but most of them have been 40.2, something like that. It doesn't really seem like there's a real RNG in the game, which I wish there was. You know, it would be nice. I'm hoping there is. I'm hoping there's an RNG built into the game that says periodically you're going to get those big 1 ounce nuggets, or, you know, even 3/4 of an ounce on a nugget would be great. I just don't know. I haven't seen that. I pretty much have seen, my experience so far has been that I generally, each pan yields, or each bucket yields somewhere around a half an ounce to 3/4 of an ounce. When you start using the wash table, I usually end up getting about 8/10 of an ounce per bucket with the wash table. Sometimes 9/10 of an ounce. But that's once you start getting into the higher operations. But I don't find myself getting buckets that all of a sudden have 2 ounces in them or 3 ounces in them, where you're on some sort of honey hole, you know, and you've struck, you know, Eureka. I just don't see that in the game, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that you can find some sort of rich deposit, you know, somewhere in the claim where all of a sudden you're hitting this payday streak. But as I said, so far I haven't seen anything like that. Now, again, according to the developers from their notes that I read, as this game was being developed, every time you start a new game, the gold locations were supposed to be uniquely different. And so far, I really haven't seen that, but I might get surprised. It's, you know, I'm in my infancy of just getting started playing the game. Who knows? I might find a claim at some point that has a huge gold deposit in it, where I stop getting these 1 ounce buckets and start getting a 4 ounce cleanup or something like that, you know. That'll be an amazing day. That'll make the game worth playing when you find that moment. If the game just becomes a mundane, monotonous cleanup for an ounce of gold every bucket, then it's gonna get old kind of quick. You got to get that reward for the time you spend into it. You got to have that eureka moment, you know. Oh, come on. Can't get to it. It's right there. There it is. And then there's one other one back there in the back that... See if we can get some of this stuff to... This is a chancy move here. It was there. There we go. That got it. All right. I should have one more bucket or one more pan. Looks empty. I could edit all this out. I just don't want to. I want you guys to see the cleanup. I think this is what interests a lot of people. That and just the setting up the machinery and a little bit of running the machinery. But even so, eventually it's going to get tiresome watching you do the same thing over and over again. The longevity of this series, I question, but I'm going to play it through. We're going to have some fun with it. I'm not going to do what other people have done and, cheat a whole bunch of money in and buy all the biggest equipment right off the bat. My game plan is to do this episode. We'll get our cash out here, see what we ended up with. The next episode, we'll go to tier 2 equipment. We'll start doing that. And we'll run tier 2 for a while until we accumulate up about $20,000, and then we'll go and then we'll go take out a loan and we'll go to tier 3 equipment. But I have to be honest with you, having played tier 2 and tier 3 equipment, until they get a dump truck in the game, I really am not that excited by the tier 3 equipment. Simply because you really just don't have good equipment to move the pay dirt to the wash plant. I enjoy playing with the excavator and the mobile plant much more than I do the tier 3, because the tier 3 somehow, with it being stationary, you somehow have to get the dirt up to the plant for the clean out, which right now in the game the only way you can do that is with the wheel loader, being that there's no dump truck in the game. And the wheel loader is, as I said, a weak, limp noodle. It is just, the controlling of it is terrible. There's a little glitch in the game. Hey, but I get a little extra gold out of this. I've had this happen a couple of times to me. And every time it throws the gold back into the pan, you can reclaim it and get double paid for it. I think we got it all that time. Good. All right. Let's put this pan back on the table. And just for giggles, we'll do this one more time just to verify that it is empty. Whoa. Do. All right. Move that over there. That is there. Good to go. So we got 40.3 ounces. And we're going to go ahead and advance to dawn so we can see what we're doing. Well, yeah, we got 40.3 ounces. Let's jump in our truck and we'll head over to the blacksmith. Smelt our gold down and we'll see how much we get paid for it. I haven't seen too much of a fluctuation in the price on it. Now, if you look at the computer that's in your tent, it will show you, like, if you look at the stock market on it or whatever, it will show you, and you can do the same thing at the bank, it'll show you a long-term track record of gold, and it'll show it way down low, and then it shows it currently at about $1,200 an ounce. I haven't, in the gameplay that I've done so far, I haven't seen it fluctuate. It'll be interesting to see if it does. And I don't believe the game is tied to the internet, so I don't see that it would fluctuate with real world prices, but they may have some mechanic in there that fluctuates, because it would be nice that if you start building up a stock of gold, at some point you could sell off your bars and you could hold them and just stockpile them until there's a high price on gold and get the most for it. But there's still no way to really store gold in the game either, so that's an issue. Because as I've said before, you can just take your gold bar and spike it on the ground like a football out here and leave it on the ground and go to the bank and sell it. You don't have to carry it with you, which is just sort of silly. You ought to have like a lock box in the floorboard of your pickup truck or something that you can go put it in. So we lose 10% because of the claim. So 40 ounces, we're going to lose 3.6 ounces on there. At least that's the way I can figure that up, because on the claim it shows like part of our thing is we owe 10% for the rent on it. So all I can see is that gold loss right here takes that out on it. But anyways, 40.4 ounces is what we've got. If we were to sell the ore right now, if we sold all 40 ounces, we get $39,149 for it. But we're not going to do that, obviously. We're going to craft that bar. So let's go ahead and melt the gold. And we have 40.3 ounces, which is funny because it says that we lose 3 ounces of gold when we craft the bar, but we don't actually do it. And again, I'm going to spike the football right here. Not going to worry about it. We did lose a little bit of money, though, because we had to pay to smelt the bar out. So we're $267 in the hole. But we got a 40 ouncer that we can go sell, which is going to be good stuff. So again, if we had just sold the ore, we would have only gotten 39. And as I said in our previous video, you're best to always smelt it, regardless of how much you have, because you're not going to get the value selling the ore. And since there is no minimum in the game for you to make a bar, which I think you ought to have a minimum of an ounce of gold to make a bar, but it doesn't do that. So again, if you look at the stock, it shows you what the valuation of the gold is, and it shows it at 12.13 right now. It doesn't seem like this fluctuates. It seems like this is a permanent thing, but we'll see. We'll see as we go along in the game. But we'll go over here and sell our 40.3 7-ounce bar that is sitting over in the dirt over at the blacksmith. And again, it doesn't change at all. Once I click on the sell button, just cancel out, and it will show that we got $48,706 for it. Much better to sell the bar off than it is to sell the ore off. And with that 48,000, we'll be able to go to the warehouse and buy the equipment needed for a tier 2 upgrade. And we will do that in our next episode. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smack that like button for me. Share the video with your friends, comment down below, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And let me know that you want some more Gold Rush videos in the comments. And like I said, when we come back, we'll be purchasing equipment over here and getting ready to enhance to a more mechanized version of gold processing. We'll get ourselves an excavator, and then we will get a mobile wash plant and all the things that we need to get. And we will upgrade our operation quite a bit. All right, so come back and join me for that in our next video. Until then, stay safe. Have yourself a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye-bye.